And now we have sound. Awesome. There I was talking. I love this technology stuff. Yeah, I could hear myself before, but there's tricks and tips to sorting this out, so I don't need that anymore. Right. Going back to the questions, and I'll be a little more briefer in my answer now. Right. Okay. Chuck, do I consider myself an advantage player? Yes, I am. Uh, I consider myself a modern and slots related advantage player. I don't do a lot of the things that slots advantagers, well, really advantage players did before 2012. I'm very focused on the casino business practices and taking advantage of them. I know advantage players are everywhere, right? Blackjack card counting, all these different areas. Looking at the rules of a game. I recently had a post about this, about the different things that advantage players might do. I'm one type. Yeah. And Bill, you can't go. I can't win at slots unless I am playing a machine that is set up and hopefully pay. Absolutely. Everything that I do, my advantage plays are to find those machines, to find the patterns, to figure out what the casino might be doing, what the slot manufacturers might be doing, something to look for. I'm glad you can hear me, Bill. I'm going to try to get past that technical mistake. Right. And let's see. So hopefully people have been to my website. I have, let me see if I can do this. Maybe show, let's see, should be able to full screen view. Don't really have too many options here. All right, well, one of the things I'd like to do is be able to show you, say, my web page. But as you can see, I'm new to this live stuff, and all right, I'm new to this live stuff, and getting an active screen, basically video from my monitor, is apparently a little bit beyond me. I want to keep up with the questions. Maybe I can try to. Oh, do I have something? I might have something. Uh, Desktop presenter. Yeah. Remote desktop. Change template. Full screen view. Oh, how about that? Hmm. Dun, 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 dun. While we wait for a few people to join, I'm going to see if I can't possibly um, uh, make this happen. Desktop presenter. And, well, by golly, I still can't do it. Uh, Test. Yep, still got sound. Right. And desktop presenter. Change source. I'm just going to give up on this. I'll run some other tests at another time. So let's go back to chat. Um, Lasting Build. It's good to see you here. How is the Lasting Build? Is a YouTube channel. A gentleman that I met in an 8-9 week class on how to do some of this stuff. So it's good to see you here. If you're interested in, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to get this right for Lasting Build, but if you're interested in home woodworking and building and being part of a community for a small shop in your home, Lasting Build YouTube channel is a great place to go. Also, he's working on well, maybe I shouldn't say something called Lasting Heat, having to do with salsas, and we're all very excited. So, right, and so what I wanted to talk about today, which might have been the part where I was muted, is what are your 2020 gambling goals? One of my audience members reached out to me, and they said they want to have their first time ever taxable jackpot. That is to say, $1,200 or more. And I believe he got that in North Carolina about a week ago. So I'm not sure if that's still a 2020 goal. It's been such a, you know, a goal for such a long time. That you wonder how that's going to work. What's the next goal? Maybe make it a regular thing. But what are your 2020 gambling goals? I think there's a way for me to look at more than just the I have top chat and I have all chat. So let's see, all chat. All right. So one of the things that I was also being asked about by an individual today several times, and in the last couple of weeks, I think it's going to be like a regular thing, is, let's see, where are we at? Tools. And screens. Yeah. This live stuff, I'm trying to figure out how to do it in a way that would allow me to be have a live screen and a few other things. But I think practice is going to make perfect. But in the last little bit, just to keep going, the last little bit, I've been getting questions from individuals who I know we're all a little paranoid as gamblers, but they were wondering if there's sensors in the chairs to determine if somebody's frustrated or aggravated or excited. And I was like, I'm not sure everybody who plays slots is. So why would the casino want to know you're not bored? I didn't understand the question. It's really getting past what I think really matters about business stuff. One of the questions that might be a little more focused on what's possible would be this central server that controls slot machines in many of the modern casinos. It doesn't have to have been built since 2012, although if it was built since 2012, it most likely has it. But you can't just put it into a casino without a serious amount of renovation. That's a lot of cables, and they're not using Wi-Fi. They're using hardware. And that means tearing up the floors. And if you see new carpeting, that's not when it happened. So right. So if you are at a casino that has been significantly renovated, and a lot of them are, I was talking to an individual from Oklahoma who's talking about, all that renovation. They didn't understand why, and I tried to explain that the central computer allows a financial advantage to the casino that doesn't have much to do. It doesn't have anything to do with controlling your chances of winning. You individually, they can change the odds on slot machines with remotely when it's not being used. Them's the rules. And sometimes on a busy night, it can't be changed because someone's using it. So you have to be between users, and it does take a few minutes. So people are just on the next slot machine, every empty chair. So they usually set this stuff up before that session starts, before things get busy at the casino, and then they sort of have to live with the results, up till 11 at night, midnight at night, when seats started getting empty. But it's a bit too late then. So the central computer allows them to adjust the odds on slot machines within limits, within time at times when the machines are not fully in use. Daily, multiple times per day. And this allows them to meet their daily financial performance metrics, something they've wanted for a very long time, because in the past they had an army of slot mechanics who would go out and, change the odds, open the door, change the odds, close the door, reset, according to their plan, on every slot machine. And it would take, I don't know, 30, 40 slot mechanics to get through all of them in about 2 weeks. Well, they were able to reduce their employees to just those who change the filters and do regular maintenance on slot machines, and that's a huge savings. And being able to hit their daily financial performance metrics, when in many cases it's legally required, at least on a monthly basis, sometimes on a weekly basis, like in Nevada, to hit the gaming requirements, theoretical payout limits, then, this is a great step forward. And therein is how we have an advantage play. So Chuck did ask me if I was an advantage player. I will say that I'm an advantage player, but I have advantage plays. I figured out a few. I think this is true of, if you think about it, true of any advantage player. They figured out a few. And I recently wrote an article about advantage players always having to come up with a new thing, always having to come up with the next advantage play. Well, I have a few, and I have to work at them. I have worked at them, and that allows me, and so I don't know what your advantage plays are, Chuck. I know what mine are, and I'm willing to tell you. And I've written it down to the best of my knowledge on my website at professorslots.com, and then made podcast episodes of them, and soon YouTube videos. A lot of them are also in my book, Learning to Win, which a copy is around here somewhere. Learning to Win. It's available on Amazon as an ebook as well as a soft cover, soft cover, and I'm not really great at monetization. It's something I'm trying to do more of, but I will say my book makes an excellent Christmas gift. It's fairly cheap, and last year, Christmas, December, was awesome. In fact, the last day you could order something from Amazon and receive it before Christmas was the maximum number of books that copies of my book that anyone had ever bought in one day. And December last year was amazing. I hope that something similar, because it's a minuscule amount of money. Seriously, Amazon takes 70%. That's 70. That's 770. So I get 30%, and then I pay taxes on that. So on that income. So the point of having an ebook is for those people who read. I want to give them something to read on slots. For those people who listen, I want to give them podcasts, episodes. For those who want to watch, that's why I'm working on the YouTube channel. And of course, they can also read everything on my website as well, although it gets to be a lot because it's what I'll call home base. ProfessorSlots.com. Is my home base, and that's where you can find everything. And I have an email list where I'll keep you informed of things that I publish, content that I publish. So I'm going to take a moment and see if I can find my live details. There should be something here on one of my web pages about, let's see here. I want to go to there should be an option here for, it's amazing. I'm going through all this stuff and I'm seeing all these things. Lots of features that seem to only be active when I'm actually live, which makes it kind of interesting to try and do all this. So let's see, I have options here. I need to get used to this software. Just 1 second while I see if there's a way for me to get to YouTube and confirm that what I'm seeing is correct. So I will attempt to go to that, and I will attempt to go to that, and I will attempt to go to that, and Bill asks, do I also play Indian casinos? Yeah, Stream Health. That's excellent. Recently, in the farmland that I live in, they upgraded my broadband for my internet, and I can't believe my stream is healthy. That's awesome. Right. So, if you're online, there is. So, Bill, do I play Indian casinos? Yes, I do. My family is from Michigan, and they want me to take them to casinos, and they mostly tribal casinos, except in Detroit. They want me to take them to tribal casinos and show them how to win. So, talk about my 2020 goals. My family, sister, aunt, have goals where I am to show them how to win. Now, somehow a year ago, it wasn't as prominent, but having a podcast website that's doing better and YouTube channel, they're like, so you really do know. Because I have taken them to Soaring Eagle in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and shown them how to win. But that was a couple of years ago, and now we're serious about it. I want to make sure, right. So I have family. Oh, the other one is that I actually wrote a review on was Seminole Brighton Casino. It's about 2 hours south of Orlando, and if you go to my website, you can take a look there. One thing I want to try to do here, if it is at all possible, is to maybe hold up. And there's a delay in my video, so I have to hold this here for a moment to see it come up on my screen, because there's about a 20-second lag. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to assume success. I have some friends, family friends, Dave and Lois, who are trying to use YouTube for the first time. So I just showed my YouTube page, and if you go to the third one on the list, right there, and I have some friends, family friends, and I started it. And if you go there at the very bottom, they were asking, how do I chat? I saw you were live, but I couldn't ask questions. I couldn't find the chat. It might have been their first time on YouTube. So right there at the bottom, after you click your 2020 Slots Gambling Goals live Q&A, there is a place for you to type in. And so feel free to do that, Dave and Lois, and I hope to hear from you. When Greektown changed hands, it appeared odds of winning were reduced. Any thoughts? I have lots of thoughts about that. It's another one of my advantage plays, or at least I certainly saw the effect, but execution is difficult. If you go to my website, just to answer your question a little more dramatically, I suppose, I'm going to pull up my website and let's see here. Come on. Right. This is what my website looks like on mobile. Maybe next time I'll use my iPad. If you go all the way to the bottom of that screen, you'll see my latest articles, but you'll also see this as featured on ABC Channel 27. That was a news article where they interviewed me in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, about, was it 4 months ago? And we talked about casinos there, and I shared my thoughts on what's going on. It was an investigative report for the evening news in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which has Penn National, one casino, not many casinos, one casino. And they talked about how it opened a number of years ago, and it was 93% payout return, because Pennsylvania, it's in Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania shows the the return statistics, so you know what the actuals were, to use the language, the financial language, and it was 92%. And then a year or two after it opened, it dropped to under 90%. And it hasn't been above since, and I think it's been 9 or 12 years. So yeah, Greektown, when casinos are bought, two things happened, and we only noticed one of them. After it changes hands, the odds go down. Why? Because it's a new owner, and the new owner just spent a lot of money. It's a business practice, right? But what's interesting is if you can figure out they're going to sell, and this is all proprietary, they're not sharing, but maybe you can figure out a way with your contacts in the casino, if you can get some indication, like, it's easy to see a lot of fixing up and a lot of executives leaving, or, when things are going to change, in a business, there's signs for that. If you can look for that, you can know in advance. You don't have to find out something only the executives know, only the negotiating team knows. But if you can find out about it, then you could take advantage, because the casino is preparing to be sold. And when a casino is preparing to be sold, it is got better odds. Maybe you'll just see the better odds. But that's the thing. You need to watch out, because the date of sale might be reported in a financial report somewhere, but it isn't obvious news. Usually isn't obvious news. But if you happen to be getting, because this happened to me, if you get a W2G and you look at the title of the casino and it's a different name, well, the first people they tell when this happens is the IRS. So the W2G is updated, and you'll be the first to know once you look at your W2G. So that's how you know it's been sold, in which case be very careful. I talk about assessing casinos on my main page, and one of the things I say, it has to be reassessed if there's a new owner. It has to be, because that new owner has different business practices. I think that's a very succinct way of saying that. Now, tribal casinos, to sort of combine your question with Bill's question earlier about tribal casinos don't sell their casino, right? I mean, it's owned by the tribe. Now, one of the other things to watch for that I talk about various places is, what if a new casino opens? Now, that's a great opportunity, because they want, the one in Cincinnati that I learned this at, there's two in Cincinnati. Belterra Park, which is a racetrack but had a very old building with slots in it, so it was a casino, technically, racetrack with slot machines, but no table games. And then there was the downtown area that never had a casino before. And Belterra Park was closed for renovations, right? And that meant there was no casino. So Horseshoe, at the time, owned by Caesars Entertainment, came into Cincinnati and had to establish themselves. The nearest one was Southern Indiana, a couple hours away. Not convenient at all. There was racetracks further north. But not even that, because Ohio was just sort of opening up to the possibility of having casinos and not racetracks. So Ohio put slot machines into racetracks and had just a few casinos as well, all at the same time. So really, there was no gaming industry. People had to be taught, hey, come to the casino. It's fun. Maybe you'll like to play some slots. What are slots? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you what slots are. That sort of thing. And it can't be a bad experience. Otherwise, they don't come back for a second trip. So there is besides building the building, besides all the advertising, there is also a budget to allow people to win. This partly gets some details of the gaming regulations. Sometimes the gaming regulations will say be really restrictive and not allow it, but most don't. And I talk about that in my state-by-state articles. But in Ohio, they were allowed to go over 100% on their payout returns if they cared to. It's crazy to do it unless they have a good business reason, and they did. They wanted people to come to the casino and win. I mean, they weren't just like sending everybody home with money. They had a budget. And they allowed people to do that. under the hope, I think, that most people would just go right back in and spend it again. I walked away with money. That first year, it was just piles of money. This is why I know I can put $20,000 in my two pockets and carry a mobile phone at the same time in my jeans without anything sticking out. It's just money in every pocket. It was just hard work to walk around with those kinds of bulges and in my warm day and I'm wearing a jacket. What's that all about? Because I just had to have a place to put all the money. I just like cash. I should get checks, but I like cash. In any case, to long story short, too late. They needed to make that money back. Once they established themselves in the community, they needed had to get that money back, which was the plan all along. So the second year, just so it wasn't too dramatic, you could still win, but you kind of had to work at it. Not a lot, but a little. And then the third year, they turn the screws. Okay, you can see this in the gaming regulation, the return statistics for that year. They just turn that dial down until they were pulling the money back in. Those people that I was with, this turned me into an advantage player because the people I was playing with who were winning all the time at this new casino, they thought it was luck. They thought they were lucky. And they weren't. Maybe some of the jackpots were just plain luck, but the casino had set the odds so that they would in general win. Under the assumption that they would then put the money back in and lose it, but still win a little bit more. And so it wasn't as bad for the casino as you might think, because people responded by just going back in. And that's what they wanted, because when they turned the odds down, everybody was like, well, my luck can't change. If I just keep playing, I'll be fine. It'll come back. I'll be lucky again. It's me. So many slot attendants, even you win a jackpot, they're like, I'll be back later. You're lucky, and it's just like, no, I'm not. What do you? And if you don't win, it's because you weren't lucky, and it's just like that's not how I think about it. So they turned the screws, and I went in. I'd stopped at that point, write the book, and I saw the trend, and I sort of stepped away and evaluated. And I'm so glad that I did. I went back a year later, and I saw Marty, who owns a small pallet company, and I'm like, hey, Marty, where is everybody? Where are all the other high limit slots players? Oh, Marty says, they all went into bankruptcy. So the casino got its money back, I would assume. Then it was sold to the same people who own the Greektown casinos in Michigan. Jack. Now it's a Jack Cincinnati, and they bought Jack Cleveland, Horseshoe Cleveland, and now it's all owned by them, which was again sold April of this year, 2019. Was it MGM? Who was it sold to? Anybody know anybody from Ohio who can remember who they sold it to? The signs aren't up yet, but there's been some news reports. The first thing they had to do was negotiate. The second thing they had to do was get approval from the gaming regulation, which took months. And they made the decision in August, applied for the change in August. Or is it conditional ownership or something? When did they take ownership? I haven't been going there to get W2Gs, so that's the official information. But they certainly haven't put the signs up yet. I think they got approval from the Gaming Commission. I think it was August, towards the end of August. So I should swing by there. I was there, what was it, like a month ago, and the signs hadn't gone up. I should make sure I just sort of swing by and see if the signs are up. Okay. Let's see how we're doing. Half the time's up. Do you have any more questions? You want to share maybe what your 2020 slots gambling goals might be? On holidays, if you go to my website and look under strategies, you'll find one that There's like 7, 8 articles, and one of them is about holidays. And there's another one that's similar, because there's only so many holidays. I call it special events. So a holiday is a special event, but there's a few more things you can do on special events. Special events would be like a month-long promotion to give away a car on November 30th, and would that be a good day to go? And particularly if it falls on a Saturday, that sort of thing. You might want to go for trying to win the car. I did. Mercedes-Benz E350. I took the cash, but I wouldn't gamble. Not with slots. The casino knows there's a big crowd. They've planned to have a big crowd, and hang on, Bill. They know they have a big crowd. They want a big crowd, and they have this problem where they can't adjust the odds of winning when the casino's busy, because they have to do it when the machine's not being played, and that's back-to-back players. Anybody gets up, somebody sits down immediately, and there's no time to change the odds. It does take a moment. So they kind of get stuck with whatever odds they decided upon earlier in the day, and just to be safe, they make the odds a little bit lower. Because imagine, you get a big crowd and you set them too high, it's going to take a week of people losing in order for the casino to meet their gaming regulation requirements. Yeesh. But if it's too low, that's easily fixable. If it's too low, if the odds of winning on all the slot machines is too low, then yeah, I understand, Bill. If the odds of winning are too low, then all they have to do is give back a jackpot at, say, 4 o'clock the next morning. Mine happened at 4:30. $27,000. Never had a bigger jackpot. The car was worth more, but that's a cash out. That's a cash option. But actual jackpots, $27,000, 4:30 in the morning, and 3 minutes before that, somebody on the other side of the high limit room also won a high limit. I don't know how much theirs was. I was a little bit distracted suddenly. And I do know that it was over 10,000, and probably way over. Well, I just know it was over 10,000 because they had a floor manager rather than 2 slot attendants there. But I was sucked into my own $27,000 hand pay, and I'd never won anything over $5,000 before. This was when I was just getting started, and I was, I'm looking at these patterns, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So let's Bossier City. Pardon me, Louisiana, right? I want to say Louisiana. If you go to, if it is Louisiana, and I can very quickly check that. Bossier City. Yes, I got it right. I'm really getting to know all the states. If you go to professorslots.com/LA, which I will do right now, we can see what there is to see. I don't have them all memorized, but if you go to professorslots.com/LA, and this is just the time for Louisiana, if you do that, and I'll wait for it to come up. Let's bring it over here so I can look at you while I do this. Louisiana slot machine casino gambling in 2018. I put out this article, wrote it in November 2018. So it's about 1 year ago, and it isn't too long before, I'm doing Guam and Hawaii now, so Louisiana's coming up in another month or so. Let's see, we have 15 riverboat casinos, 1 land-based casino, 4 parimutuel casinos, 4 tribal casinos. Okay, let's see what we're talking about with, you said Horseshoe, right? Yeah, and Bossier, let's see, largest is Harrah's New Orleans, second largest is Paragon Casino in Marksville, Bossier City, Diamond Jacks Casino. That's not a horseshoe. Horseshoe Casino Hotel, Bossier City Riverboat Casino, located 216 miles west of Jackson, Mississippi. Right. So if I go down to further to payout returns in Louisiana, you asked about Bossier City Horseshoe in Bossier City. That is a riverboat. So under the Louisiana Gaming Control Board, there are revenue reports, and they're broken up into video poker, land-based casinos, riverboat casinos, and parimutuel sites. So we're looking for riverboat casino. I will click on my link there at professorslots.com/LA. And again, I need to get all this up for you, and look at revenue reports for riverboat casinos, 2004 to present. The most recent one is September 2019. I click on that, and I get a PDF. There is riverboat revenue and market comparison. Let's try riverboat revenue. Boomtown, Horseshoe, 30. Okay, in September there were 30 gambling days. 107,762 people were admitted. 12 million in gaming. Fees, 2.6 million. Last month was 17, down 5 million. And riverboat total. I should go back to my webpage. Overall monthly payout returns of the 4 parimutuels. Unfortunately, the other 3 revenue reports above do not offer net slot proceeds. Therefore, no payout returns are available for video poker, land-based casinos, and riverboat casinos. That's your answer. That's your answer. Sorry to take so long with that. There are no payout return percentages available for Horseshoe in Bossier City, Louisiana, because that's not the state gaming regulation. That's not the state gaming regulations. A lot of casinos, a lot of states don't offer payout return percentages. Either, a theoretical, or actually, let me double check that. I was talking about return statistics. Oh, you do have a theoretical payout return legal limit of a minimum of 80% and a maximum of 99.9%. One of the things I'll do when I rewrite this, video pokers not in casinos have a legal limit of 80% and a maximum of 94%. So play slot machines because it has higher percent. But one of the things that's become important that I've understood, so when I rewrite this, review it again in a month or so, Louisiana may have... See, I don't like a maximum theoretical. A maximum theoretical could mean that the casino is not allowed to make it a winning machine. But there's a subtlety that I need to research on each of these states that has a maximum theoretical, which is it's hardly even matters if it has a maximum theoretical if it hardly even matters if there's a maximum theoretical if it's over the lifetime of the machine, right? They have machines that last a year. Some last a week. Don't play the ones that last a week. The ones that last a year, multiple years, a decade, those are the ones where it doesn't really matter because it's a long, long lifetime. But if it's set to be, a theoretical maximum payout return is set, which is per wager, then the casino is bound by that with their business practices. Some of the stuff I was talking about with Horseshoe Cincinnati, they could do that because they were allowed to do that. There was no gaming regulation saying they couldn't do that. And it's what I watch for. I don't really know a way around winning on a slot machine in a state that has a maximum theoretical per wager. But most of them don't. There's only a few states that do, and I'm trying to get through it takes me a year to get through all the states and identify which states are states I would never play slots in. Because it would just be luck. There would be no no advantage play. So, I won't gamble in that state. And then I have to think, what would I suggest to people who do live in that state, and that's where they gamble. Okay, We have 20 minutes left. Any other questions you want to ask? One of the things that is interesting is I left this last week's Saturday's video up for the live Q&A, and it got hundreds of views. Not so much people live, but people were asking about, afterwards it got a lot. What do I think? Angry Grandpa Fan 2. Who's Fan 1? Sorry, these are interesting names. So what do you think of Harris Cherokee? Please join my Facebook group for North Carolina, and you'll find out how many people do we have on there now? We've got, I think Oklahoma has more. Let's see here. If I go to North Carolina, slots community, it is a shortcut, professorslots.com/FBNC. That's FB for Facebook, NC for North Carolina. And we've got 21 members there. We'll be happy to share all your opinions. It's a very active group. You might even see them at Harris Cherokee. You can chat with them about it. There's been a lot of discussion of late. My goodness, what was it? All these, Steve, I was talking about him before. Harris, he's wearing my Professor Slot shirts. That's nice of him. Harris, I'm going to bring this over here so I can talk about it. Right, so November 24th, that was 6 days ago. Harris Cherokee, 10:56 p.m. Thursday night, first day of 2-night trip. Was able to hold on to most of this. He's talking about jackpot of, let's zoom in here. Trying to see. Yeah. Okay. So he has several pictures up of his winner of $1,230. Does it say what slot machine it was? Lightning Cash. And he did this, he says, I don't encourage people to have the time, 10:56 p.m. Thursday night. That would have been last week. And he got a hand pay. And I believe that was his first one. And that's that sort of sums up his goal for next year. Then I have Richard. Richard asked, if you listened to or were here for the live Q&A last week, he had a question about sweepstakes games, and I had not heard that term before, but when I looked it up, I realized, yeah, I know all about it. He was asking about illegal gambling machines. Little parlor somebody sets up, and they get raided by the police, but in the meantime, they make a bunch of money. So those are unregulated, and I have, there's no business practices that I could take advantage of. There's every state has, not every state, a lot of states, a few states have illegal gaming machines, and it's not safe. It's not safe. Right. So Richard had a few things to say. Very opinionated. Oh, let's see. Yeah, opinionated is great. Murphy boasts only 1,000 plus slot machines. Cherokee has 3,000 plus slot machines. He's played both high roller sections. Murphy's seems to be tighter on their slots due to less volume of players, padding the machines with cash. It's his opinion. Better to visit Cherokee, North Carolina on holidays. I had some questions about that. Let's see. Usually wins at Harris Cherokee. There's a bunch of photos of people winning, and feel free to go to professorslots.com/FBNC, or you can just Google, just search Facebook for North Carolina Slot Machine Casino Gamblers. I understand that there are plenty of people out there who, you're welcome, Bill. There are plenty of people out there that would be not interested in going to Facebook, and I can certainly appreciate that. But it seemed like an easy way to set up a community. I think YouTube is actually a better choice. So if you want to comment below, I also wanted to mention the people that are commenting now. No one's ever going to see that except me and you now. It is not part of the video, and all of the live chat disappears. So no one will ever see it except the people who are looking at it right now. So I guess you could say it's private. If you want to comment after we finish this video, then those comments on the video on YouTube, those will be forever. So just wanted to mention that. Let's see. Angry Grandpa, I just love that name. Angry Grandpa, fan 2. I won over $1,000 on Heat 'em Up Power Wheels. And they need to open the Catawba Casino near Charlotte. That's interesting. Let me go check that one. So I have let's take a look at North Carolina's article. We just did the Louisiana one, so this one would be professorslots.com/North Carolina. Or rather, NC would be easiest, less typing. So if I go there, and that won't be too long after, the next one won't be too long after this one. I did North Carolina was March 1st, so it won't be until like April of 2020 before I get back to North Carolina again, just if I stay on schedule, which I usually do with these. List of casinos. Voice is getting a little dry. So payouts, I'll make a note of that. I'll make a note of, so this is another casino. You said Catawba Casino near Charlotte. Interesting. Is this also the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians? Because it doesn't sound like it. Let me see if I can maybe grab that. Yeah. So I will make a note in my next report on that to double check for a new casino there. So let me make a quick note for North Carolina. Appreciate that. Thank you. North Carolina, where are you at? North Carolina. And the next one coming out for North Carolina would be, May 5th, 2020. So I will make a quick note. Boom. Question mark? Yes. And I will take a look at that. It's in Kings Mountain. All right. I'll make a note of that too. Well, there's up. Right. I'll make a note of that too. Absolutely. Let's build some support. If you, I'm just me. If you go to professorslots.com/FB NC, there's 20, 30 people there that might be able to support this too, and they're residents of the state, and they can vote, and they can contact the representative. Absolutely, let's get that going. Next questions. I think I want to make sure I checked to make sure I didn't skip anybody. Holidays. Bill, you generally go on Sunday to Bossier City, Sunday and Monday. That sounds like a fine thing. And how do you do there? I don't think you said. You said that's when you go. There's always good times. those, uh, you know, busy, not busy, you win, you don't win. If you don't win, try other times, if not other days, if not other times and days. Well, yeah, Bill says, so I need to get out of Horseshoe. Uh, in Louisiana, uh, there's only a few places where you have uh, payout return statistics, and then you know what's going on. A lot of states don't have any whatsoever, and you've got a few. But when you choose your favorite casino, it really is about. Got a person who wants to join North Carolina. I'll take care of that in a second. Um, when you go to your favorite casino, many times it's a matter of convenience. Is Bossier City close to you, right? Well, now Bill says get out of Bossier and Shreveport. Well, if you're in northern Texas, people have been there. That there's two class two casinos in some other part of the state, far away, not near the Oklahoma border, and they just go to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma knows it. The tribal casinos in Oklahoma, oh my goodness, they talk about losing and raking in the money at those casinos, and people are like really upset, but they don't have any choices except Shreveport, and it may not be good to you, but it is so much better than what people in northern Texas are seeing who travel to Oklahoma. So it's all relative. You say not Shreveport, they say, oh please Shreveport. It's more of a day. It's not a day trip any longer, and that's not very convenient. The people I've been talking to are retired 10 years ago. They say so. Um, you look at your choices. One of the suggestions I made to them was, okay, so it's inconvenient to travel, but you do travel once a year. Save your money. Go once a year. I mean, it changes your habit. I know people like to go when they like to go, and maybe once a year isn't enough practice, but no, depends if you have the money to burn, I guess. It can be entertaining, but I don't like it when I don't win. I mean, it's not fun. I like to win something. I'll be happy to pay, put it all back in. No, I don't anymore, but I do like spending money I just won. I know that's a fallacy. I shouldn't consider it the casino's money or money I didn't have, because as soon as they slap it in my palm, it is mine, and I can do whatever I want. Somebody was contacting me this morning saying, why is it that whenever I win something at the casino, the next time I go, I lose it all? And I said, well, you took it back. Don't do that. Sorry, a little obvious. My most recent article was 11 practical tips for slots money management, bankroll management, and to take your winnings home. And it was a long article, but I tried to be thorough. So if you're interested in seeing that, it's on my professorslots.com webpage. Okay, getting down to the last 5 minutes. What else you got for me? Double check. Someone said just won $1,000 on Angry Grandpa Fan 2. I won over $1,000 on Heat 'em Up Power Wheels. You know, I can't see any reason to play a particular slot machine game. Every game, every slot machine with the same game, let's say there's a row of them, they could be the same odds, but there's no reason for them to be the same odds. One's a winner and one's a not. I've sat next to people who are winning, and I put a few dollars into the machine next to them, and it wasn't a winner. Well, theirs had a, you're welcome, Bill. Theirs could be seen from a distance. Mine could not be seen from a distance. They were on the end of the row, and I was kind of blocked on the next one in. Seems obvious to me that the casino set up the one on the end of the row that had a view down the long hallway to be visible. And so why wouldn't they, silent promotion. Not going to tell you about it, but encouraging people to win. So they go sit down further into the row and lose their money. Business practice, right? Uh, Try to be observant. That's my approach here. Let's see. Maybe double check other comments. Yeah, we talked about Greek Town changing hands and what it means for a casino to change hands both before it happens, which is really hard to find out about, and what happens after. That's one of the first things we talked about. Let's see. Okay, so just to wrap this up, I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving here in the U.S. I guess that was 2 days ago, and I hope that you survived Black Friday at the malls. I stayed away. Um, uh, Shopping's done, has been done since September. Hopefully, family's not listening. And I hope that tomorrow's December, and I hope that the weather isn't too bad. I know people are traveling, and the weather is bad across the West, so I hope that's okay for you guys. And other than that, have a great December. I'll be here again, 2 p.m. Saturday next weekend, and if you have a request on a particular topic, it's working just to answer your questions. They're wide-ranging questions, and will Myrtle Beach ever get casinos? There has to be check the state check the okay. North Carolina is tribal casinos. Tribal casinos are on reservations. Are there any reservation land on Myrtle Beach? Yeah, I see your question, Angry Grandpa Fan 2. Will Myrtle Beach, South Carolina? Sorry, duh. No. Short answer: South Carolina is death on casinos. I think there's a boat that goes out in international waters, and it's not actually very far from Myrtle Beach. Check professorslots.com/SC for that. And you can see what size it is, and I put some links in there, but not in casino, just in international waters. I think it's a daily casino boat, and that's what you get. But land based was your question, and no, the social mores in that state seem to indicate that they don't want it. And I think one of my reviews said that South Carolina was the third most restrictive state on gambling after Utah and Hawaii. Only Utah and Hawaii have nothing whatsoever. I think South Carolina might have bingo. Um, uh, and Utah has it for religious reasons. Hawaii has it for financial reasons. They did a study. So you pick a spot of land in Hawaii, and they did an economic analysis. What if you were to put a casino on that property? How much money would the state make in income taxes on gaming revenue? And then they said, okay, now let's put a resort. No casino, but tourism resort there. How much would we make? And the casino was like 100 million. No, the casino was like 2 million. Oh, what was the number? It was like 100 times more for the tourism spot than it was for the casino. And the state's like, yeah, we're totally prohibiting gambling here. We'll make more income tax revenue off of gaming or off of tourism than we ever will on gaming. Easy decision. But South Carolina, I never really dug into why they don't want it, other than they don't want it. Habits are hard to change. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. Looks like the last few questions. Greener pastures. Are the Vegas casinos struggling? They're always struggling. But as long as it's nothing abrupt, they try. See, that's the thing about Nevada. And I wrote another article about this. Nevada gaming leads the way. You're welcome, Bill. Are the Vegas casinos struggling? Yeah, sure. All businesses are. I don't worry about it. I mean, they try things like parking, fees, resort fees. It's only this much money for a room, but you have these fees. It kind of reminds me of college. There was, how much was it for tuition per credit? Oh, I can do that. What are these lab fees and the cost of books and all this other stuff on my bill? Oh my goodness! So then they pull back on that when people are like, well, I guess I won't go. It's a business, and you might be able to have an opportunity if you carefully watch it. Lots of podcasts out there that are just about Las Vegas, and you can kind of monitor this stuff. I really like on Twitter Vito Vegas. He's posting every several times a day on various stuff, and he's an insider. He keeps track of what's opening, what's closing, and that's a real good person to follow. So, and I have a Las Vegas. If you're visiting Las Vegas, what to do as far as slots, and article to take a look at. Okay, so it looks like we hit our mark. I could go a little bit longer, but it looks like all the questions have kind of been answered, and I only wanted to go for an hour. Again, I wish everybody a great Cyber Monday on Monday, right? Hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving and a not too dangerous Black Friday, and we'll talk in a week, 2:00 on Saturday, same time, same place, same time. Okay. Hey, everybody. Have fun. Be safe. Make good choices.